Hello and welcome. Now in this video we're going to be looking at the runners and riders of the upcoming Nigerian presidential elections. Now, as you know, we're not short on candidates for the elections. We have plentiful, over 50 candidates as at the last time of counting, I think, probably a lot more. But really, the protagonists are about just a handful, and the real people with the potential of actually taking the position and becoming president are probably just two. And those two, of course, you know, are Malam Buhari and Abubakar Atiku. Now, in this video, we're going to be this is the first, by the way, of a series of videos that we are going to be doing in the build-up to the presidential elections. So please subscribe and follow, because the videos will be coming thick and fast. But yes, I digress. With this first video, though, we are going to be looking at the front runners, namely President Buhari and Abubakar Atiku, and then we're going to be looking at the merits and demerits of both candidates. So this is going to be a short synopsis, and it's not going to be too heavy on details. So we're just going to be looking at the marquee elements of what they bring to the race and potentially to the post. So we start off with Malam Buhari. Malam Buhari, of course, has been Nigeria's president once before under a military dispensation, when he replaced the then democratically elected president Shehu Shagari, and then subsequently went on to become the military head of state. That was the term of reference then, military head of state. I think it was General Buhari, General Babangida rather, who introduced that presidential tag to a military head of state. Hitherto, prior to Babangida, a military ruler in Nigeria was referred to as a head of state. So General Buhari then replaced President Shehu Shagari via a military coup d'etat, and subsequently became Nigeria's president then. So during that period, it was quite a draconian period. I remember they used to have this thing called the war against indiscipline at that period, when they were trying to introduce the queuing culture to the Nigerian culture. So they were encouraging, and when I say encouraging by way of the armies out on the street flogging people. That's the sort of encouragement that took place then. They were encouraging people to queue for buses, to live an orderly life, etc. And during that period also, they introduced a death penalty for drug trafficking. This is during the General Buhari's first incarnation as the Nigerian president, because this is now his second incarnation in that post. So this was during his military incarnation as the Nigerian president. So during that period, it was quite a draconian period. As I said, they were ruling, of course, by military decree, and by that act of fiat, where you can, by the stroke of a pen, create a law. They pretty much got away with anything. For instance, they introduced during that period a retrospective law which which made drug trafficking then a capital offense. So this law, or decree rather, was introduced, and it was introduced retrospectively, and retrospectively they then went and convicted people with this decree, and summarily had them get capital punishment, i.e. executed, killed, made no more. So this was the form during Buhari's first incarnation as the Nigerian head of state. We now have him rebranded and represented as a Democrat via a very dubious election that took place in 2017. So we now have him under this dispensation as the Democratic president of Nigeria. And really, apart from the tag of the change in title from head of state to president, there has been very little that's changed in his demeanor, in his manner of administering the country. So really, we're back again to that jackboot style of governance by force, by fiat, by autocracy rather, and really, and government by force and by autocracy is not necessarily by itself a bad thing, especially in the country Nigeria, which lends itself to a strong man rule, because you need a strong man to rule Nigeria. So we had Obasanjo, who ruled Nigeria successfully. We had President Goodluck Jonathan, who had a lot of difficulty during this presidency, even though he probably had the best policies amongst all of the Nigerian presidents ever, but he wasn't a strong man. So now we have another strong man again, and Nigerians are sitting up straight. So the strong man rule is not necessarily a bad thing within the Nigerian landscape, because our democracy has not yet matured to the level where we would not require that. So a strong man rule is not necessarily a bad thing, but a strong man rule without any concept of thought beyond the parochial is a recipe for disaster, and that is what is playing out now. So Malam Buhari is he doesn't really have any concept beyond his immediate understanding in Daura. This is a man who has lived within a small village, in a small settlement, in a backwater pretty much all of his life. He has he hasn't traveled. He hasn't written anything that anybody has acknowledged. He hasn't done any real business of note. He hasn't really done anything really apart from being a military man. He's of limited education. He has a limited world view, and then you have this person foisted on a country as diverse as Nigeria, and that is really what we are seeing playing out now. Poor appointment, nepotism, religious bigotry, extrajudicial killing, corruption, favoritism, you name it, it's all there. The only thing that is not there is competency, development, growth. I think Nigeria has now fallen to the lowest rung in the global rating, now being the poverty capital rather of the world. So that's where Malam Buhari has led us to in his second coming. So is he now going to get a third coming by way of a second term as the president? That we shall discuss in a subsequent video, but in this video I'm just laying the grounds for conversations that we will have in the future. So that's Malam Buhari. So now let's go on to Abubakar Atiku. So Abubakar Atiku is a eminently experienced experienced man within the Nigerian political structure. This is a man that has been playing politics since the days of Abiola when he tried to become his running mate. He subsequently became the running mate of General Olusegun Obasanjo, and he served 2 successful terms, which are totaled to 8 years as the vice president of Nigeria. So that's 2 terms, 8 years as the vice president, the second foremost political role within the country of Nigeria. So he has that on his CV. Is an extensive businessman and a successful businessman. The nature of his business is something that might well be subject to question. There's question marks rather about corruption surrounding his name. Definitely that much is in common parlance. This is something we all know. There's a lot of allegations of corruptions leveled against Atiku, but there's no proven corruption charge that has been successfully prosecuted in the court of law. And also, by the way, there's a lot of corruption charges leveled against Malam Buhari as well, and this is dating back to when he was the defense minister under the Obasanjo military regime, then, when it was said, he was alleged to have purloined with the better part of $3 billion, and $3 billion back in those days was actually a significant, you can read that to mean $10-15 billion in today's currency, because money had value then. So Malam Buhari always had corruption charges as well. He had corruption charges when he was a chairman of the PTF under the Abacha regime. Obviously, we've all read stories about the corruption charges leveled against his wife fighting her ADC over some $2 billion bribery thing that wasn't remitted to her or whatever. So there's a lot of corruption charges leveled against Malam Buhari as well. So in terms of corruption charges, it's pretty much 50-50 as far as these 2 chaps go. So going back to Abubakar Atiku, so he has pedigree in business and in governance, and he also has like a policy direction for Nigeria. So now he's published his policy direction booklet online for people to peruse, to respond to ask questions about, and to generally interact with. And the interaction with that document so far has been favorable. So now we have this choice between Malam Buhari, who has led the country for 4 years now, and the country has had no change from that. All we've had is a retrograde step. All the food items have gone up by over 100%. The currency has fallen against all the major currencies by over 150%. The poverty level has plummeted to the lowest it's ever been. Nigeria at this point is the worst that it has ever been. Nigerians have never experienced hardship as much as they're experiencing it now. Now, these chaps, the APC and Buhari and his cronies, will tell you that it's all the PDP's fault, but Nigerians can think back and reflect on what quality of life they had under the PDP. So anyway, so we leave that by the by. So now we've introduced the 2 candidates, the 2 foremost candidates for this presidential election, Malam Buhari and Abubakar Atiku, both really very poor candidates in terms of what Nigeria can offer. They're too old. They're not literate enough. They are not of this time, and somebody of this time is a person that should be able that can and must chart the direction for the future, because we are living in new times now. We are living in the times of digital economy, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency. We're looking at one world government, where we're looking at a world of mass movement, mass migration, the world reconfiguring. So we need somebody somebody that is attuned and in tune with this new world thinking in order to be able to position the country Nigeria. We don't need some septuagenarian or probably some 80-something-year-old man, because Buhari's age, of course, is well in the 80s. He's nowhere 76. Don't be daft. Buhari is more Mugabe's age bracket than anything else. So we don't really need somebody of that age, of that low of a quality, to chart the direction of the future of that country. The country Nigeria, by the way, is 70% population young people, and that's 35 and under. So really, you can't have an 80-something-year-old man of limited education and limited world experience charting the future of an educated 30-something-year-old population. The language is completely different. The future that these young people are looking forward to are completely at odds with somebody like Buhari's perception. It doesn't have the beginnings of a clue. So anyway, so those are the two candidates that we have, Malam Buhari and Abubakar Atiku. Those are of course not the two sole candidates running, but those are the two candidates with the most prospects of actually going on to become the next Nigerian president, and I say with the most prospect of becoming the next Nigerian president. That's not strictly true, and I shall address that in a separate video, but I don't want this video to drag on too long, so I'll end it there. So I want to know what your thoughts are, so leave that in the comment section. What are your thoughts on these two elements, Abubakar Atiku and Malam Buhari? What do you think these two elements have to offer the country Nigeria, or do you think that these two elements have anything to offer the country Nigeria? So let's get this conversation going. Comment section is where this conversation usually takes place, so I shall join you there and leave you here as I say peace.